We are covering a heated controversy that has seemingly blew up overnight. I don't know about you, but I've never heard of the show Dragon's Den until this controversy that we're covering here today. Before we get into the show, we do have to know two things. We need to know who Simu Liu is, and we need to know what Bobba is. Simu Liu is a really famous actor that has been in some very popular movies recently. He was in Taken, which was like a huge movie for the time. And of course, he was in the iconic Barbie, which is probably where you're like, oh, this guy looks familiar. Where is he from? It was probably the Barbie movie that you saw him on. Now he's on this show, The Dragon's Den, where he is a guest investor. They call him the celebrity investor. In order to know what this drama is about, you kind of have to understand where Bobba comes from and its origin. You see here that it says Bobba originated in Taiwan in the 1980s. The exact location and creator of Bobba are debatable. The pearls were enlarged and rolled with brown sugar to give them their color and added to milk tea. You might be asking yourself, why does this information matter? Well, it's because Simu called out this company for cultural appropriation when they were pitching their idea on this show. As someone who has seen a lot of cultural appropriation over the years, people calling it out and then others disregarding the message that they are trying to send. If you're not able to tell, I'm half black, half Mexican, so this is a little in my territory. It wasn't too long ago when we were hearing about spa water on TikTok. And don't get me started on black culture because that list is a little too long to go over right now. But let's watch the video.
Hello Dragon, my name is Jessica.
And my name is Sebastian.
We are here today from Quebec City seeking $1 million in exchange of 18% of our business, Bobba.
Bobba.
Dragon, you have probably heard about bubble tea.
Yes.
I've never. Has anyone else heard of bubble tea?
Yes, I've heard
What
of
is bubble tea?
Simu was drinking bubble tea this morning.
I've never heard of this thing
Yes,
before.
I'm talking about bubble tea. That trendy, sugary drink you are queued up for and you are never quite sure about its content.
Those days are over with Bobba.
Hang on. I'm quite sure about its content, but continue.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's very justified in speaking up in that moment because that didn't come off well. The way that they said it, even though they might not have meant it to be like a negative connotation, in my book, it's shady. In my definition, it would be considered shady to say something like that. But let's continue.
They love beverage into a convenient and healthier, ready-to-drink experience. Since day one, we are disturbing this $4 billion market with 3 simple ingredients: high-quality tea, fruit juice, and our famous Bobba. Last year, we just launched 2 crazy innovations, including the first alcoholic ready-to-drink bubble tea in the world.
Woo-hoo!
But also, our grab-and-go popping Bobba.
So Dragon, are you now ready to drink our product?
Yeah.
Bobba comes in various flavors like watermelon, dragon fruit, and peach. It retails for about $3.99 at major grocers in Canada, the US, and Europe.
Do you get the popping bobas though?
The boba's popping.
Raspberry and lime. Not bad.
This is the popping Bobba. We sell it in convenience store to add to any drinks.
This is my first time having bubble tea.
You're missing out in life, man.
I've never seen it like in this. I've seen
People have tried to bottle it up. It's very difficult to maintain the flavor.
Did you like this?
I thought it was fine, but I'm concerned about this idea of disrupting or disturbing bubble tea because it's something that's
Why?
very
There
near.
can be new takes on things.
Sure,
Nothing-
but I'm looking
not
at
everything
I'm
has
looking
to
at
be
these
traditional.
two guys. No, but then there's also an issue of cultural appropriation. There's an issue of taking something that's very distinctly Asian in its identity and quote unquote making it better, which I have an issue with.
He's not wrong when it comes to the idea of these people profiting off of Bobba, because they're making it sound like it's a new concept. They're doing a very trendy new thing, but they're not. So when these people are saying they're trying to disrupt the market and make themselves like a leader in the Bobba space, I think that's why he has such a big issue with it, especially since they're not entrepreneurs who culturally like identify with the drink. But this is just the beginning. There's more.
but I want to hear the pitch before I formulate an opinion. And
Boy,
so
that's one way to start.
Yeah, that's one way to start. A little heavy there. But okay.
But it's not an ethnical product anymore, not with the popping bobas. So we took the version, the Asian version, and we made it with fruit, with juice.
The popping boba is new. I can't say I've had that. It definitely is an experience when you're having it. And do you manufacture this yourself?
No, so we have 3 partners, but they are exclusive partners. So they only make my bubble tea.
Where?
In Quebec.
I don't know if you saw, but the vibe was off in that room. I don't know what the other investors thought like those comments were going to do, like de-escalate the situation. You can clearly tell that Simu is very uncomfortable in this moment. He's hearing these people out and he's really trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
What made you guys get into this business?
I was like looking at the data about bubble tea, and the popping boba was just rising everywhere in the world. So I was like, I need to come out with something. It was a crazy success since day one.
I mean, I'm glad he was very honest about why he got into the business, because he didn't try to make up a story or anything. And honestly, that's what a good entrepreneur does. They look at the trends and data based on like what's selling, what's not, maybe something that they can be a leader in the category in. And he decided to make this product. Kudos to him. He also could have said money was my motivation, because it clearly was his motivation, which is the motivation of a lot of people. So can I fault him when it comes to that? No. He probably should have talked about his experience with boba, his first time drinking boba, talked about the first time he went to Taiwan or getting the most authentic boba that you can get it. I don't know. He could have said something else that would have sounded way better.
So you're building a brand, and this is, I'll see if I can articulate this, but the name Boba, the industry is boba, is it not? Is that a good thing being called boba or a bad thing?
Well, they added a B.
So right now we're rebranding, we're working with lawyer and everything, but at the end of the day, maybe we're gonna need to add a little word after the boba.
Clearly you're doing very well. What respect is being paid to this very Asian drink that has blown up around the world? And is it in your teas? Is it in your product development? Who is on your staff? Who is on your cap table that is allowing that for you?
It's a good question, because our best partner is in Taiwan, actually. So they make all the recipe, all the boba. We work really hard. We travel to Taiwan. We speak with them. They are part of our team. It's really important for us. So that's the best part. That's the cultural part of our product.
There's just a little bit of disconnect when I saw that portion of the clip, because I'm like, they did ask about your partners and you did say that your most exclusive partners were in Quebec, but had nothing to do with Taiwan. No one said anything about Taiwan until you started getting pressed on this issue. Let's see where it goes.
I am studying your can, and I am looking for anything that tells me where boba came from. And where boba came from is Taiwan. You know, I started this venture company for a lot of reasons, but really primarily to uplift minority entrepreneurs. And not only do I feel like this is not happening here, but that I would be uplifting a business that is profiting off of something that feels so dear to my cultural heritage. I want to be a part of bringing boba to the masses, but not like this. So for that reason, I'm out.
Thanks.
Respect that.
Respect that.
I think that was beautifully said. And honestly, he probably would have got a lot of backlash for partnering with this company, but I don't think he would have after the way that they went about their presentation. It wasn't hitting to me. Not at all.
It makes me sad how successful this business is. It makes me sad that people are, you know, they're drinking boba with a raccoon with a sun.
It doesn't mean that they don't have the opportunity to change and do that.
That's true, but there has to be a willingness, and I have to be able to invest in these founders knowing that that change is possible.
They didn't say no. The collaboration that they've had to this point is with their supplier in Taiwan. And if nobody else has told them that before, you can't put that all on them.
I mean, did you see his face at the end of the clip? Because that's exactly what my face would have looked like. That sucks that his biggest op was up there on stage with him. And every time that he would talk, she would be like, yeah, nope. Nope, interject. I don't know about you, but that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Don't interrupt me because I'm snapping on you. My inner Karen is coming out. And that's not Karen energy. That's just, basic respect. But it was clear that she was like preying on his downfall. Like, I don't know what the intention was. If she was like, she wasn't trying to understand what he was saying. It just seems like she wanted to poke holes in everything that he was saying. A lot of people were outraged when this episode aired, and rightfully so. Normally, a lot of this stuff is like people commenting, making videos on TikTok like, whoa, this was crazy. Well, it actually reached mainstream news outlets and they're covering it. Just by doing a quick search of Simu's name, this is what comes up. You go to the trusty Google and the news side of it, and look, all these articles within the last day, hour, couple hours. It's CNN, it's the Washington Post, it's NBC, USA Today, and also today, BuzzFeed. Every major news outlet, most major news outlets covered this topic. All these titles basically saying that he called this business out for cultural appropriation. Rightfully so. But let's see how people reacted to this on social media. Let's go to TikTok and then we might focus on a little bit of Reddit. So I'm in the TikTok comments section. It was someone who explained the controversy that's going on. Boycott Bobba. Also, boba drink, it's changed so much and has so much more weird ingredients. Calling it boba sounds disrespectful. Absolutely on point. And if you look, there's a lot of people drawing the similarities from Asian culture and Black culture and people profiting off both. All right, now we're gonna look at this boba Reddit community. Thoughts on the Simu Dragon's Den Boba situation. Curious to hear everyone's thought. Personally, I think Simu's statements were 100% valid, though. I don't think it's wrong to make boba appealing to a broader audience because it's delicious. Everyone should enjoy it. Duh. The way that the boba community went about creating their product was terrible. I'm super passionate about this topic, so I actually wrote an essay. From my personal experience working in a boba shop district in a majority non-Asian area, not to make this an Asian thing, it is just other demographics typically are unfamiliar with boba. The menus will have more beginner-friendly drinks for people who don't know what boba is, such as a red velvet or peanut butter milk tea, and copious amounts of fruit tea and popping pearls, since Americans tend to complain about how nasty and flavorless actual tapioca pearls are. Customers would usually order fruit teas over milk teas because they taste less like tea. Bro, it's called milk fruit tea. And that's where I think the problem lies. Boba's brands are catering to a lesser and lesser traditional taste, which results in a distorted view of what boba actually is and where it comes from. A real life example, there's two main boba shops in my town, one that has an expansive menu of drink flavors, more so catering to people who don't enjoy the classic boba flavors, and one that has a limited menu of classic boba flavors. The second shop has significantly lower star ratings on Google reviews because the views are ransacked with people complaining the drinks here aren't sweet enough, no popping pearls on the menu, save your money and go to the other boba shop. They taste better. Tea flavor here is too strong. Listen, it's totally fine to have your own taste and preferences, but if you're serving something that barely resonates with the definition of real boba, maybe you don't call it boba. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, maybe the underlying issue of what Simu was having with this company, I know Simu doesn't say it, but this is kind of what I think was at the back of his mind when they were talking about disrupting the marketplace and, them being a leader in the marketplace, and why it doesn't feel right. They're not selling like the traditional flavors of boba. They're actually creating something kind of new. They're branding it as boba because it's something that has popped off and has become popular around the world lately. You would introduce boba into the mass market, and when people are trying it, they might like it, they might not like it, but at the end of the day, when they go and they have that traditional boba from an actual authentic mom and pop shop where they make boba, the same thing might happen to those shops. They're like, ew, this place is nasty, leave a negative review, and then that negatively impacts their business. Why would he want to be a part of that? I'm kind of annoyed that a lot of people don't get why the way they sold the product was insensitive. They basically insinuated that bubble tea made by Asian people are intrinsically unhealthy, boring, and needs to be improved on by white people. The level of cultural insensitivity is outstanding. And this is what I was talking about with the negative connotation of how they were wording things. This is how it can come off, especially when you really didn't define what is making it healthier. What are you really improving on? This person said the boba is just one in a long line of things that are appropriated by the dominant culture. This was just an example that happened in real time with a person related to that culture trying to do his part to preserve it, and he did his very best to do so. Not only did the boba company receive a lot of backlash, so did some of his fellow co-stars who are on the Dragon's Den with him. I'm sure that you can guess which person that was who caught the backlash as well. It might be someone who was investing in the company or wearing pink on that stage. So she kind of did post like an apology video, if you can call it that, talking about the backlash and talking about like how they shouldn't be receiving death threats, how she's no longer investing in this boba company. None of these entrepreneurs on this show like should be getting hate. That's what I got from it, but let's watch it.
Last week's episode had a pitch from entrepreneurs about boba tea that has sparked a big conversation. After more reflection, due diligence, and listening to many of your opinions, I will not be investing in boba tea. Having said that, I had to turn off commenting on my platforms because it is never okay to send hate and death threats to the entrepreneurs. I believe wholeheartedly our culture...
I didn't realize that she put the transcript of what she said from her video in her post. So if you look at this, she did not apologize at all. She did not acknowledge that, like, anything that happened in that episode. She didn't apologize for cutting Simu off and letting him explain what he meant by, what he was saying in the video. She basically only said it's not okay to spread hate. Make sure that you're not spreading negativity. That's like what is being said by her. So let's see what her comments say, because we know that she is turning off her comments, moderating her comments. Well, let's see what's good. Your level of ignorance shows how uneducated you are. Speaking in a pre-written, beautiful words or speaking a logical gaslighting language does not make you smart. Get her, sis, get her. Girl, have you been kidnapped? Blink twice if you're in danger, because that is how easy it is to tell that you're reading from a script, girl. This is not an apology. You still don't know what you did wrong? Question mark? And the fact that this was posted 2 days ago and we didn't even get a follow-up to this follow-up, or like an acknowledgement of like what Simu was saying. Nah. Typical privileged behavior. One thing rich people can't do is apologize. Her silence would have been better. That hole she's been digging. Sorry, it sounds weird, but I think they meant to put, then that hole she's been digging. Simu did respond, and he was basically like saying the same thing as his co-star, saying stop spreading hate. The business and some of my co-stars have been experienced like death threats and a lot of hate, and he just wants that to stop.
And in the case of these folks, they're fearing for their physical safety. So I just want to say this. I believe that the entrepreneurs of this business came on Dragon's Den to pitch a business in good faith. There were a lot of things with the pitch that I took issue with and I disagreed with, and as a result, I pulled out as a potential investor. But that doesn't mean that I believe that they deserve harassment and threats. I think a lot of grace should be afforded to them because they're French Canadian. I think their exposure to these types of cultural conversations was limited. And I also feel like English was not their first language. And when you have cameras pointed at you and you're put on the spot and you have to kind of answer these questions that I don't feel like they were prepared to answer. I think you're going to say a couple of things that are not perfect and not the best worded. And, to a degree, yes, it's 2024. We expect that people do their part and educate themselves. But at the end of the day, too, I mean, I try to live my life, my real life, and those and the people around me. I give grace and I ask for a lot of grace. I'm not a perfect human, but neither are any of the people in my life. And I just feel like I wish we had a little bit more of that energy online. I wish that social media could be a bit more of a habitable place where we could actually voice respectful disagreement with one another, where you could respond to people as if we were looking each other in the eye and saying, okay, I hear what you're saying. This is my problem with it. This is my issue. And that we could have someone on the other end saying, I hear you. Thank you for saying that. We don't agree, but I appreciate that we had this conversation, Yeah, I also want to say that the show has been kind of catching some strays. Some of my fellow dragons have been catching some strays, and kind of along the same vein of what I was saying before. We have such a short time to formulate our responses when we're filming these segments. Oftentimes, you're seeing a lot of knee-jerk reactions and micro expressions that happen faster than the blink of an eye. And then we can't take them back because the camera's rolling. And so I, again, found myself on the other side of that, of an unfavorable edit. But I can tell you for a fact that the show, the producers, the crew were so supportive of what I had to say. And in terms of my fellow dragons, regardless of what they said or what they did or did not do while the camera was rolling, in the break room, everyone was all ears. Everyone was like, I want to hear more about what your perspective is. Let's have a conversation. And yeah, I really wish that that had been filmed, but that isn't the reality. And so, of course, the segment is what everyone has to go off of.
So he gives the company an out, but I mean, English is their second language. I can see how they didn't know the correct terms to use or how to put things in the best way. I mean, I'm not someone who speaks a second language, so I can't really speak from experience. It's just something that, I'm assuming, and I'm giving them grace, just like he said. But he did highlight that, yes, they had conversations about it off screen and off camera. He talked about the unfavorable edit for his co-star role. I'm also like, I think the parts that were recorded were kind of like a lot. Like, I really do wonder how the conversation went off camera. I don't like how I have to wonder about what happened. I want the chisme. They should have recorded. Maybe they all had hot mics still. Like, let's get that conversation out there. More publicity for your show as well. So the Bobba company did make a statement apologizing for their actions. They didn't create a video. They did a written response on their Instagram profiles. So let's take a look. Dear valued customers and public, we are very sorry about our delayed response. We need some time to do our due diligence and fully understand the gravity of this situation. First and foremost, we want to deeply apologize for the harm we caused by our words and actions on the show. While it was never our intention to cause harm or disrespect the community that created and popularized this beloved drink, we take full responsibility for the impact of our actions. Additionally, Simu Liu raised very valid points regarding cultural appropriation, and we welcome this learning opportunity. We fully understand the backlash over our featured on Dragon's Den based on what people saw on TV. When we said, you're never quite sure about its contents, we're not referring to the traditional bubble tea formula found in specialized shops. We can appreciate that this wasn't communicated effectively in the episode as English is our second language. What we were comparing it to is the other ready-to-drink products like ours found in big box stores. On the show, we were presenting our newest boba formula, which hasn't been released anywhere yet. In this version, we've removed all artificial coloring, flavoring, and preservatives while maintaining a lower sugar content. This is what we are referring to when we mention a healthier option on the show. Regarding the cultural significance and origins of bubble tea, We know our choice of words was misguided and understand people's reaction. What we were trying to do is celebrate that many other cultures are now enjoying this wonderful drink. Our choice of words was wrong when trying to explain our point, and for that we are extremely sorry. We never claim that boba is new. What we explained during the show is that we have produced a different way to package it with a ready-to-drink glass bottle that minimizes the environmental impact. Our Taiwanese partners are heavily involved in the research and development of this product, which we believe helped us achieve such early success. At no point did we mean to insinuate that our boba bubble tea is better than traditional bubble tea in any way. Despite our intentions, we take responsibility and are accountable for the impact that this had. It's clear to us that we should have called upon the expertise of our Taiwanese partners to shape the ways in which we give credit to the cultural roots of bubble tea and assure that cultural integrity by properly acknowledging its origins in Taiwanese culture. We will reevaluate our branding, packaging, and marketing strategies to ensure that they reflect a respectful and accurate representation of our Taiwanese partnership and bubble tea's cultural roots. We will also commit to further learning about the impacts of cultural appropriation to ensure that we are equipped with the skills to effectively work cross-culturally, and we are confident that we continue to engage in open dialogue with our partners, community leaders, and stakeholders. We will prevent this from happening again in the future. We understand that actions speak louder than words, and as such, we are committed to taking these necessary steps to ensure our future decisions reflect our values and the deeper level of respect we have for Taiwanese culture. This has been a valuable learning experience for all of us. We understand people's negative reactions, but we feel the hate speech, the death threats are absolutely uncalled for and need to stop. We truly hope that people give us a chance to set things right and show you that we can do better. Respectfully, Sebastian and Jessica. This boba tea controversy has sparked such a big debate on cultural appropriation and why it's important to pay homage to the cultural heritage of a product that you are going to profit off of. But what are your thoughts on this boba tea controversy? Do you believe that the entrepreneurs crossed the line? Do you think they were honestly trying to make this drink healthier, or do you think they were just trying to gain a profit? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one.